Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Happy Monday to you. Hope your day is going well. Hi, Dukasoft, you indeed are first. Jumping right in. So I'm in the middle of trying to do the thing that we were talking about on the stream on Friday. And right, if object is no, continue. What? 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 T target type is not null at this point in time. Interesting. Okay. So what we were talking about on Friday, well, we talked about a bunch of stuff because it was community day. For those of you also that are wondering, where in the world is episode 21 of the regular stream thing? Well, I had a big snafu on episode 21 and yeah, had to unpublish the video, delete it from the YouTubes, all of the fun stuffs. So doesn't exist ever anymore at all, from the beginning to the end, ever. Hold on, I gotta do a thing. I'm making faces because I got food stuck in my gums. I just had a meal bar. Nom, 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 nom. Ah, okay. So here's where I'm at. We got a lot of the stuff working for the import utility. We're so close. Gee, I missed that on noms. Hello, crap team. We're super duper close to finishing the data import utility. It's gonna be great. I mean, specific implementation for the lab data import stuff that we've been working on. Samples. Now watch. So let me just show where we are currently. And then the process that I'm trying to do right now, I'd be happy if we can just get validation to work when you push the upload button. It'd be nice to get validation to work when you push the preview button and or while you are configuring the field mappings. And I'm just trying to figure out the best place to put the model validations. And there's a, are you a warning? Right. That's this. We're getting there. Yeah, I just need to make that nullable. Allow it to be nullable. F12. Dang it. It would have been really, really nice. They could all be constrained to non-nullable. Okay, so here's the app. Apparently I do have a window open over here. It's right here. Why didn't you open in this window? I'm pretty sure that was the most recent window I had the focus on. Weird. And of course, if you are feeling like it, let me know how your weekend went. How are you doing on this fine day? Okay, so lab data import. The import utility is a tool that I'm writing in order to be able to take a CSV or an Excel workbook and convert the data within it into a C# object. And then the lab data import version of it is to specifically turn that data into an RTrack upload model, which then can be added to the database and have all of the record check stuff done on it for our line of business operations. Oh no. Dukasoft said, I went to the dentist today. Tooth hurty. That sucks. Was it anything bad? Did you have to get like major surgery? Or was it just a filling? Did they numb it? Tell me more. Tell me more. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna pick a sample file. And the one that I'm gonna pick is similar to the shape of data that we're trying to turn it into. For now, we are going to do the other files once I figure out more information about them, like how to get the lab and lot information out of these. Okay, so here is a sample. Roots are half dead, half alive-ish. Ugh. And got a feeling. Nobody likes that feeling. I'm scared of that feeling. I hope that never happens. Ever. Who needs front teeth anyway? Those are for doing things like, you know, smiling at people. That's about it. I guess they're good for helping with pronunciation of words. Here you can see we have a saved mapping. However, some of the mappings are violating the... No, they're not. None of these are actually violating the conventions. Anyway, one thing that I have is if a field is required in the target type, then we get a little asterisk. And of course, I'm going to make it more visible to the user when they are actually using the app that this field is required. Make sure that you create a mapping for it. If there is no mapping for it, then it should let the user know, wait, there's no mapping for this field. I'm still going to allow the user to save the mapping. I don't know what that is. That's the first time that's happened. But I'm still going to allow the user to save the mapping because they might have gotten interrupted and they just want to save the work that they've done. Maybe they don't know where that field comes from, but they have already mapped all of the other fields. So yeah, I still want to allow them to save the mapping. So let's find out what this error is. I really don't want to start needing to debug errors yet. Actually, I don't know why there are errors. Oh, missing required fields. Interesting. So it threw this as an exception, and it's not supposed to be an exception. It's just supposed to be a validation result. 60? Oh, it's actually an exception in, sorry. I misread this. I have a property called missing required fields, and there is an error in the getter for it. Where, what? What is the error? Why is there an error? Luckily, I've got a family member working there, so it was a discount. Nice, Dukesoft. Tasty water. Yeah, this is really odd. It would be really nice to know, and like it says it happened 997 times. It'd be nice to know what exactly is calling this 997 times. Was there an error maybe that occurred before it? Oh man, this is so hard to move around on such a small screen. I'm not used to anymore having a small resolution on the screen that I'm working on. Hello, TBD Gamer. Hope you had an okay morning. I'm saying okay morning because it sounds like you had a rough weekend. But hopefully it's gotten better. Your day at least. Okay, so Yeah, I don't know what exactly this error is. Although, did we get an exception, unhandled exception in here? In our console? Jiminy Cricket! No, we didn't. Maybe. Okay, found conflicts, version, code analysis. One thing I did do on Friday after the stream was that I went ahead and updated the source generator so that it is using the latest source generator code analysis and analyzers on C#. I'm pretty sure that's the latest. And that required me to change everything over to using the incremental generator, but I did, you know me, I'm transparent. I asked ChatGPT, I asked Copilot to do the conversion of this, and it really wasn't that hard. Like, the conversion was essentially to change this to incremental generator, and then instead of using the syntax subclass, the thing that catches, you know, what classes we're supposed to be generating the syntax for, instead we are analyzing the class that's coming in using this initialize method to do that. Yeah, I honestly don't know how this works. Pretty much it just says if this is one of the classes that we care about, then generate the syntax info, the enum info for the enum class, and then generate the enums. And all of these methods are pretty much the same, except that instead of this being whatever kind of context it was in the previous generator type, it's now a source production context, but the code remained relatively untouched. Relatively the same something. Anyway, it was just not the weekend I planned, says TBD, so I took the time to focus on some of the tidy up for Liquid Sky. I might have a testable version ready for tomorrow's stream. Awesome. Although I have now cursed myself by saying that. Nonsense. I did something magical this weekend that I probably have no business trying to do. And in fact, I'm still a little worried about it. Yeah, I'm still a bit worried about it. So I bought a couple of three-way light switches that have a dimmer, even though I only needed a single light switch. It didn't need to be three-way. But anyway, that has a dimmer, and I replaced a couple of my regular single pole rocker switch thingies. I learned the terms for these while I was trying to do this. And so I took the light switches out of the box. It's one of those boxes that has 3 light switches side by side. One of the light switches is for the lights above the mirror in the bathroom. Another one is for the lights above the shower. And then another one is for the extractor. So I didn't touch the extractor, but I replaced the 2 light switches. And there wasn't enough room when I was trying to put everything back in the box because the back part of the new switch is quite a bit thicker than the original light switches. Plus there were 2 extra nuts that I had to add for grounding and for neutral wires coming out of the new switches. And so that added just enough space, filled up just enough space that I couldn't put the switches back in place. So I did a lot of finagling, and after about 10 hours of working on that, I finally got everything pushed in really snugly, and like, it seems fine. It works, does what it's supposed to do. But this morning I touched the light switch and it felt kind of warm. And I'm not sure if that's just what smart switches feel like because they're constantly connected to the interwebs, or at least our local network, or Bluetooth or something. And yeah, it was a little warm. So I need to keep monitoring that and make sure it doesn't get like super hot. Yeah, it's so hard to tell if anything is actually wrong with it. I probably should get an electrician to look at the mess I've made, see if they can get things to fit in the box. Maybe get a new box or something. The problem is that it's like we have a I don't know how to describe it. I was trying to find an example. So here's the bathroom wall, and then here's another wall, and then this is the path into the bathroom, and then it's like between the master bedroom and the bathroom. And so this wall is about 8 inches thick, deep, whatever. So this is where the switch is, because like this is the sink and this is the wall between the master bath and the bedroom. And so I don't know if we can fit a bigger box in that, or even how to go about changing out the box without undoing everything. Oh, and I want to do that again for the basement lights too, but I'm afeared. I don't want to anymore. As long as everything is insulated properly, I would imagine you'll be fine. But if in doubt, call an electrician. They'll charge you a small fortune, but safety first. I just don't want people in the house. Thought I could do it myself. The problem was that the diagrams were all about how to switch from an existing three-way switch to the new smart home three-way switch thing, and nothing had to do with switching from a regular single pole light switch to this thing, to a dimmer switch. Study to be an electrician. Easy fix. I do a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't do on my own, only because I don't want to have other people in the house, which is really dumb, I know, but it's kind of what I signed up for when I choose that route. Anyway, moving on. So that's my story. TBD Gamer says, I hear that. I changed some sockets in my house a couple of years ago. Realized that the breakers were mislabeled. Oh no. Apparently, I swear when I get electrocuted, it says TBD. I paraphrased. I hope that's okay. I have a meeting at 1:30 today. So the one that I thought was on Friday, I was wrong. I misremembered. It's actually today at 1:30, which is in about 4 hours. So I will just get back to what we're doing and get it all done. We're gonna finish this today. At least the core logic, being able to upload to the database and run the RTrack record check on it. To yay meetings. Hope that doesn't include cables in the wall. I don't know what that means. I've already forgotten. I hate it when I say way too many things and then I lose the context of what we were talking about, or what I just said. I know what we were talking about, but I don't know what I just said that spurred the comment about cables in the wall. Okay, so here's where we're at. The process that is happening currently. Oh yeah, I need to find out what's going on with the getter for the IEnumerable of missing fields. Oh, context was you do stuff you shouldn't. Yeah, it would include, but not be limited to. Oh. It would include but not be limited to wiring in the walls. Nice hat, Scott. I mean, thank you. I did my own wall mount for the TV. That was also scary, drilling holes in the wall and missing studs the first time, and the mount is a little bit too small for the TV, but not by much, but just enough to make it to where I'm kind of afeared that it's gonna one day fall off the wall. This was back in 2022 when we first moved into this house. So there was that. There was the ceiling fan that I installed myself. Again, no business installing a ceiling fan that's running over our heads. It hasn't fallen yet, and it's on all the time. Man, where? So this looks like it's when it's trying to serialize. But where in my code is it trying to serialize? And it's a Stack Overflow, which means that it is looping. And the most recent thing that I did was I exposed the internals of this to system.text.json. So I'm just going to remove that. But yeah, so at the time, there is a story about that though. The TV that we mounted upstairs was one that we had since 1824, 1813. Anyway, so we've had it for a long time. So we got a new TV, and that TV was an OLED, an LG OLED, and within the first couple of weeks it started to get burn-in because I use it as a monitor. And I tried everything that I could to make sure that I wasn't like leaving static images on the screen, and it was just an overall bad idea. Something I shouldn't have done. Yeah, and this still doesn't make sense where that first errors. So I had a ton of burn-in, and now that TV, I'm using it in a different room because when I called in to finally get it fixed, or no. Gosh, I'll try to make this story fast. I have a lot of stories. I immediately let them know within the first couple of weeks, and they're like, all right, just let us know your address and fill out this information and we'll have a technician sent out. So I did that. No one ever came out, and I was super duper busy, as I almost always am. And so I never got around to calling back and being like, no one came by. So I just kind of lived with it, and I'm like, I'm just going to do things to make sure that the TV doesn't get any more burn-in. And apparently watching YouTube tutorials while doing my day job will have the YouTube logo stuck in one spot on the screen and then the red banner. So anything that's red is the thing that caused burn-in. And so that screen now has a whole bunch of splotches, dark splotches whenever there's red on the screen. So I finally did get around to calling them back, but of course I decided in all of my infinite wisdom to call them pretty much the week after my warranty expired with them. So I bought the extended warranty, and they're like, okay, just take your TV to a shop that's nearby. And I'm like, take my TV to a shop, a big TV that I can barely lift, that won't fit in my car. Okay, fine. Let me call them, see if they have some kind of pickup service. And they're like, well, so we do service that kind of TV, but we would have to order the panel for it. We wouldn't be able to fix the TV itself, and the panel is no longer manufactured by them. You can go to their site and you can see that for yourself. They sent me the link to it, and it's pretty much the panel for it is the same price as the entire TV that I got it for, since I got it on a Black Friday deal. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy a new TV. and it's going to be a what are you called? Micro LCD, mini LCD, something LCD, one of the new technologies that pretty much has near the same darkness as an OLED. And I don't know, what are you called? Samsung QC 60, 90, 60 QLED. Yeah, probably QLED then. But yeah, it's pretty much like an OLED as far as darks are concerned. But the the experience with it has not been great. But I wasn't going to return that TV because I already ran into so many issues. And like right now, it's cool. It's a good picture for the most part, but there are just so many quirks with it. It's like, why can't things just work the way you expect them to? Oh. And they can. It's just, I'm attracting these things to myself by expecting them to give me frustration and such. So I am a co-creator in that, and I acknowledge it, and I accept it for what it is. Moving on. No judgment on myself. I'm already starting to fall into that pit that started on last Monday, but we are not going there. Okay, so the last thing that happened was I tried to push map fields here, and we got an exception. It's still happening. Line 61 in field mapper base. Field mapper wrapper base. Line 61. Yeah, so there's still some issue. This time it's 999. Oh, you special friend of mine. I love you. The other thing that I did was in field mapping, I started adding the validation attributes. Because I'm trying to keep the model validation in a way that I can display it to the user. And so, because like it would have been cool what we were talking about on Friday, which was to go ahead and use an edit form for the objects. However, I'm using a data table, and so my data table needs to have the validation for a given column for a given property of the output type, which makes me think, is there actually something on data table where I can constrain the values that are accepted in a given field? We'll check that out. But the other thing was that I didn't want to have to use reflection every single time that I'm trying to create a field mapping. So instead I create the I get the validation attributes. So validation attribute is pretty much anything that is a data annotation, like required and string length, range, all of the constraint stuff. And so I was going to use the built-in validation context to do that. I found out how to do that. It looks good. These helper methods here, it's super easy. You create a new validation context using the object, using the instance itself, which is here. And what I'm doing is I'm caching the validation context for each object, which probably means that I need to clear the validation context cache on occasion. Like every single time we create a new file. Yeah. So I'll expose a method for that. Okay, Scott did say that I didn't read out loud, my bad. I'll be careful with my I'll be careful with my OLED TV then and take into consideration of burn-ins. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as big an issue, but when you think about how much time you spend reading a website or having a window open if you're using it as a monitor, having a window open and all of the static content around that window can, if it's like blue, red, or green, it has the potential to cause burn-in. So I cannot recommend OLEDs as monitors. As good of pictures as they have, but the QLED TVs are definitely getting much closer in contrast quality, and it doesn't have as much ghosting. Is that what it's called? Ghosting or bleed? The one where, because they're LEDs, then you light up one, you backlight one of the spots on the TV, and then that kind of blooms out. That doesn't happen as much or as drastically on newer TVs. All right, have you looked into Fluent Validation plus Blazor Fluent Validation? So for this library, since I'm intending it to be a standalone library, the only external, I forget what Jace is, but the only external dependency that I have on it is Excel data reader, because I didn't want to write my own Excel data reader or even CSV data reader to turn a CSV into a data table. Well, I guess it's mostly I didn't want to do that for Excel, and since this already does it for CSVs as well, then I'm okay with having it do it for CSVs as well. That said, I don't want to introduce any additional dependencies if it's something that I am capable of doing myself. Oh. But yeah, if this was an existing application or greenfield application that has data entry such as in RMA chain of custody or DDMS, then I will, or have, I guess is the word I should be using, use Fluent Validation. I absolutely love Fluent Validation. So every single one of these rows is surrounded by an edit context, and I'm using Fluent Validation to have some pretty complex rules in them. And then yeah, it does validation for me there, and that's this button. So yes, I would certainly recommend that as well. Okay, I updated my model. Hey, it's actually going to rebuild for me this time. And hopefully this time it'll ignore the validation stuff. Fluent Validation is a good library. I much prefer having something like that over attributes on models. I mean, you can still use attributes with Fluent Validation, but creating your own abstract validator implementation, I love that. Absolutely love that, because then you just get the validator for it and then you say validate this, and it does it, and it's super nice. But I was looking at Fluent Validation to see how they do lists. It's not very easy to read the code to find out how they validate IEnumerables or iList or iCollection or anything like that, because the thing that I need to do is, when I'm using the data annotation validator, oh, what are you doing? Just stop. Okay, I'm stopping the app and restarting it. Is that you need to create a validation context per object. So that's what I was just talking about, where I have a cache of object validation context so that we can just retrieve an existing validation context if the object hasn't changed since the last time we ran validation. I mean, you can update the property values, but it's still the same object, same instance of the object. Okay, we're back to somewhere that works, and hopefully with the JSON ignore, we are now at a point where we can map. No, man. Same thing, get missing required fields. Field mapping. Wait, is this something that I recently added too? Missing required fields? Oops, I meant to... You're not on field mapping, you're on field wrapper base. Wait, why are you trying to serialize field wrapper base? You're not. Where did I get serialization on this missing required fields thing then? I have no idea. Okay, so on field mapper wrapper base, this missing required fields is breaking. It's being called 997 plus times. And we don't know what the actual exception is because there is nothing being... There are no unhandled exceptions as far as the console is concerned. Hey, this isn't what I was expecting to be doing right now. We're still going to get this done. It's going to be great. I'm on like the very last step where I just need to run validation on the generated output and put that in the right place. So right now, I think the place that... Why am I seeing myself? What is that? That's so weird. Super weird. I don't want to see that. I was saying words, but hello Zons. How are you doing on this fantastic Monday day? Oh, I hope it's a great one for you. It's being interesting for me so far, but it's gonna be fantastic. I just know it. Okay, and it just crashes. No exception. It just crashes, closes the browser, and we lost... Like, it was running in debug. How? What? Huh? Oh, ooh, but we do get the exception. Hello, Tyron. It crashed when I pushed the map fields button. Yeah, look at this. Stack Overflow from a query. Handle commit clicked. Do we have something more specific? Is it from this query? I don't think it's from this query. I've only had one Stack Overflow exception in my lifetime. I have a few because I tend to reference parent objects from child objects and try to serialize that using system.text.json. Yeah, I have no idea how missing required... Oh my gosh. I have no idea how missing required fields recurses on itself. That Zons, that is shorthand syntax for, this is called a spreader operator, but set this equal to this .to list essentially. But instead of being .to list, it chooses, the .NET compiler chooses the best collection type to use. I think it got added in C# 12. Does that sound right? We can check. But anyway, can anyone see what my issue might be? Anyone at all? Anywhere? Anywhere? Yeah, it's definitely very JavaScripty. So the issue is that I'm getting a Stack Overflow on the getter for this method, or for this property called missing field requirements, because it keeps referring to itself as the very first thing here. So what was that supposed to be? Okay, so that's me creating this. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's just me adding a brand new field as part of this whole validation trip that we're on. So we don't need this. We don't need to print the internet. We're going to do a validate differently. Oh my gosh. What even was I trying to do? Like, what are you supposed to be? Missing required fields is supposed to be my list of field mappings where it's required and ignore mapping is for, oh my gosh. Yes, yes, you win. You get 180,000 points for the correct answer. All of you do. Oh, that was so dumb. Who's the dev? Get blame. Some weird kid named Umberto Cruz Udrilla Jr. Actually, one line, sorry. Wait, why are you using one line? Get global settings, yeah. It's because this is get global settings. And I use, on this computer specifically, I use both. But for this project, it needs to be me. Oh my gosh, how do you spell my name? Anyone? H. at automatedrealms.com. I have played Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. And yeah, I have. I'm gonna have to do this for all of the like, is there a way to set git settings for a top level folder so that it applies to all of the subfolders? Because I want my global settings to always be one line, definitely. But it'd be nice if my armits git folder was my automated realms account or user. God says, here's a YouTube's. All right, I'll click on that in a second. You did the sound that reminded me of it. Yeah, I'll listen to it. I make a lot of weird noises when I'm... C# embodies the philosophy of great artists steal. It's the greatest thief ever. That was Final Fantasy XI. But yes, that's just the overall Final Fantasy fanfare theme. It sounds like... Oh, hello? I didn't mean for you to choose it. I don't even. Is it because it's bits? It's bits. Isn't it? I'm glad it's free bits. But yeah, I don't know the whole idiom. It's an idiom, right? Not a philosophy. Yeah. Hi, Bit Gamey. Are you streaming today? Are ya? Are ya? Are ya? Are ya? Are ya? Aw. Dukasoft is so fast. I was starting to shout you out. So Big Gamey, if you guys don't know him, is a fantastic game developer. Not today, this week is uncertain because I have the builders in. I see. So of course I haven't really been able to listen in on your stream since I stream during the same times that you do. But it is really nice to be able to hang out with you when you're live and around. Oh my god. You made a name. Is that new or have you had it for a while? That looks new. That's hilarious. Stream the builders then. But yeah, Big Game is really awesome to hang out with. Great personality, great, just awesome all around person. And I say that because I'm interrupting myself, but I would have definitely said the same thing about TBD when he was first shouted out. But since I didn't, I'll say it now. TBD's streams are also quite amazing and awesome. He works in a lot of different .NET technologies, and you'll see him building a pretty large system. As a solo developer and needing to manage all of the things that he manages is just like, he mentioned at the top of the stream that he's close to getting a test version ready for select people to start giving him feedback on specific things that he wants feedback about, not random bugs, Mojo. We're not bug hunting. We're feature validating and feedbacking. Okay, so I did keep it. I just changed the missing required fields to use the property that I was actually trying to go for, which is actually going to be edit field mappings. Because we haven't even applied the field mappings yet. We do that here. Oh man. We got 2 dad jokes for the price of 0. The one from Otherbot that I can't say its name because voice assistant will listen to me suddenly, said, "My boss told me to have a good day, so I went home." How does that work in my situation? I don't know if you guys know this, but I am home. And it's always a good day. And I am also my boss. And my boss would never tell me to have a good day. Anyway, and then the best bot said, "This furniture store keeps emailing me. All I wanted was one nightstand." Hi Dukasoft, I'm Bard Gamey Dacky Games Gamer. Big Gamey, Irish John Games, TBD Gamer. Are we seeing a trend here in our community? Is something happening that I should know about? You, man, that one shot that day where you shot at like 70-degree angle. Game nerds. Tyrant game death. Yes. Triple Tyrant game death. Wait, there's a points? There's a points. Points? Points? I got 0 paw points. I got 1 over infinity paw points. Broadcaster blacklisted. How dare. 0, 0, 0. And your total scores were 21, 20, and 19. Huh. It still gave you it still gave you points for yeah, definitely. It still gave you points for airtime, is what that looks like. I don't have very much turned on with Stream Elements, do I? I don't think I do. Stream Elements. Stream Elephants says live streamer commands. These are the commands that I have turned on. I still have the 8-ball on. So 8-ball. Will I eat at least 8 tacos in the next 12 days? Don't bet on it. Not wrong. I got a count age bet, but I don't have any contests ever. Chat stats, commands, which takes you to this page. Start a contest, which should be everyone. Anyone can start a contest if they wanted, apparently. Feel free to have fun with that. No deny, no duel. Emote count, which is new. May as well turn it on. Emotes. I just don't have very many emotes. I love the lion emote, of course. That looks painful. Poor knees. Yeah, I don't even know how to start a contest. Oh, maybe you can do exclamation point contest. Everyone can do exclamation point contest, but I don't know how to start contests. Yeah, no idea how to start a contest, but it's a thing. Yeah. Anyway, have fun, poke around, do things. I'm gonna try to get this done now. We're done with this error. Let's go ahead and verify that this works now. Hi, oh, not Scott. I mean, not Apocalypse. The game decided to play the yeah. Oh man. Okay, done at watch, please. My watch is broke. So Zan, sorry if you've been saying things and I've just completely missed it. I will catch up. My brain is doing great, actually. Actually, very great. No, last thing you said was C# embodies the philosophy of great artists steal. It's the greatest thief ever. Ketchup is good on fries. Maybe. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Oh man, it's insane how fast you can add commands to your bot. Like, I started coming up with a UI for it, and then I just never actually finished it. For adding commands, that is. Okay, I still don't know what that initial error is, and I'm not going to troubleshoot it because we're going to change out this app anyway for the actual live app eventually. Ooh, that's a tough one. My favorite break fast. Well, If I would go with a breakfast that I could eat all the time without getting sick of it, it would be Cheerios or Special K breakfast cereal stuff, just cereal. And I guess my breakfast shakes. I love them. They're easy. Grab one, drink it, finish it by the time the coffee is brewed, and then I'm downstairs and working. So the ease and it's pretty tasty, and it's nutritional enough to get me through my day. There, no errors. Jeez. Okay, and that's the one that I was expecting to error because now is when we're trying to do the validation, and for now it looks like it's throwing exceptions when we are trying to do the validations. So lab and lot are required, and so I'm throwing an exception, missing field mapping exception. And I don't want it to be an exception, I want it to be a validation result or validation error. Which breakfast shakes? Carnation Instant Breakfast. The strawberry or vanilla kinds are the kind that I get. So yeah, we're gonna update this. Excuse me. What's that? Control G, 304. I'm just a simple Blazor website. Oh, it's just a simple Blazor website with 4 fields: command name, answer, channel, and is active. Yeah, must be nice. Oh, they do chocolate. The better one is not the regular chocolate, but the malt chocolate, if they have it. Breakfast essentials. Rich chocolate milk. You guys are the ones that have the malt, right? Malt chocolate. Maybe they're not the ones with malt. So yes, it's this rich milk chocolate. That's the better one. In my opinion, if you're gonna get chocolate. I get the ones that come in cartons like this that are pre-made, but you can get the powdery sugar one yourself if you want to use a different kind of milk, like oat milk, for example, which is really, really good in oat milk. Maybe a taste test on stream, unless it's really bad. No, it is good. It is super tasty. But if I was going to pick a type of breakfast that I don't eat often, if I ate it every day, I would get sick of it, but it's still my favorite breakfast. It would be sausage and gravy and biscuits. Biscuits and sausage gravy. Nougat bits. I get my nougats from the store. Dr. Duke a little. He speaks to aminals? I get mine from a local brown cow. Yeah, I stopped drinking cow milk just because it messed with my stomach. I'm pretty sure I'm lactose intolerant by now. And I've switched to vanilla almond milk, but I do like oat milk as well. This is my favorite breakfast. Yes, code. Code. But I wouldn't get tired of code. So my 3 favorite breakfasts are C#, or I guess .NET development, breakfast essentials, and one of the 2 types of cereals. I only drink 2% from a proper cow. Yeah, I used to only drink 2%. Definitely couldn't do vitamin D or whole milk as much. Okay, I need to do work because I really do want to get this done. And then I have a meeting in 3 hours now. So let's get this to stop throwing an exception. Oh, okay. So the point that I'm at is I need to accumulate validation errors for the current data set. And so what I'm going to do is for each field mapping, it's going to not only have its validation attribute, but it's also going to have validation errors. The problem is missing required fields is greater than 0 then throw. And I'm going to change that. In England, they call it skimmed and semi-skimmed. Oh, so 2% is semi-skimmed. And they have such different tastes for being 1% fat difference. It's crazy. Yet another thing to adapt to. And don't get me started on fuel pump handle colors. What do you call a cow that plays an instrument? A musician. So yeah, we are gonna eventually change the, where were we, 304? We're gonna change this out for adding a validation error, but where? Big gamey. Cows can't actually play instruments, so it's a moot point, he says. Very punny. Very, very punny. You get 80 points for that one. Okay. Yeah, I'm struggling with knowing where to put where to track the validation errors. Since what's happening in this UI is that we are taking in a file, and when we read that file, even though I have a target type in mind, come on, let's actually load a valid thing so we can see what the output looks like. Map fields, preview. The output that is in the application stays as a data table until we try to do something with it, like try to upload it to the database. Then I materialize it as a list of objects. But right now, this is just a data table with a whole bunch of data rows. Just like what the file got turned into, which is the import file on the left. Yogurt, to be kidding me. And Big Amy says, I'm not sure. It's all Greek to me. He is quick at these. Oh my gosh. He didn't even hesitate with that one. Oh man. Okay. So the thing that I'm really wanting to do is in this preview window, I want to identify values that are invalid. I would also like to have a header with a triangle or something, a warning symbol that says some values are not valid. And then if you click on it, it would filter the table to only those values that are invalid, or only rows with values that are invalid for that column. As well as a filter up here as well for only rows with invalid values. Which means that I need to store the validation somewhere. And again, if I turn the field mapping into a, so it'd be during this generate output data table. Is there a way to settings? Try get field mappings. Okay, so you're the one that gives us back a data table. So when it's setting up this data table here, is there a way to add validation rules like the data annotation validation rules? And definitely give Irish John Games a check if you have not already. He's another game developer that works on a game called Rise of Piracy. It's a very, very I can't think of the word. It was just in my brain. It's a big project. So all of these streamers that are working on these massive projects, and here I am just working on one small library, and I can't get that done. All of these streamers working on these massive projects that are just large undertakings, and they're succeeding. He's gonna, he has a release date. It sounds like Microprose and him have talked about a release date that he's not allowed to tell us yet, or at least they have something in mind. Not release, early access date game thing that he hasn't been able to tell us yet. But yeah, what's your largest project you've worked on in terms of number of lines? I don't know number of lines, but it would have been DDMS. The project that touched the most technologies and had the most number of lines, and the reason that it has so many lines is because lion numbers is because it has 3 databases that are all document data stores. Those databases are formatted, or at least the tables in them that we care about are formatted similarly to each other. So I have one massive document object that is the combination of all of the documents tables, which again, all of the documents tables themselves look pretty much the same. They all look like this, but each database has its own set of collections. So this has a collection called APF, and APF has these columns. AR, and AR has these columns. PMC, PMCK, DTS, Inquire, RRP, RVO, and drawings, and some weird one that I can't think of. Oh yeah, Fish and Wildlife. Brand new collection. So that's just one database. And so I need to consolidate all of those into one model so that I can show the document edit in one place and using one component. But I could have done it a different way. It was my first foray with Blazor. So when we remake DDMS, it'll get cleaned up a lot. But anyway, point is that all of the getters and all of the record creators, all of the CRUD operations for a document record has a whole bunch of switch statements that are like, which database is it and which collection in that database. Then I will shape the data to look like that output collection and document table record. And you can imagine that being repeated, like it's essentially repeated code for the most part. So a whole bunch of repeated code. I don't remember who it was that was like, I can't look at this. I can't see a file that's over 1,500 lines. I was like, let me open up DDMS and show you my 9,000 line document management file, the one that is only for inserting a new record. I mean, it feels like that, but yeah. So as far as number of lines, it would be DDMS. As far as complexity, I still think that the RMA Water app was pretty complex because of the map and needing to use JavaScript interop and load it in an efficient way and be able to still provide map functionality. It doesn't touch as many technologies as DDMS. So DDMS uses an index, an indexer, an index service running as a Windows service, and RabbitMQ to communicate messages, and Signal R to update in real time, all of those types of things. Still not a lot of technologies, not a lot of advanced technologies, I would say. But yeah, RMA Water is just that map. And then the charting service. Ugh. Regarding the DDMS, would a discriminator suffice instead of a new database? Wait, no, because the databases needed to be separate for business reasons. So the DPRA database needed to be separate from SBCCOM, needed to be separate from TCM data. And then again, with the collections within each database, that could have used a discriminator if we were using NoSQL, because a document is pretty much, they always have the, nope, not that one, this one. They always have this structure. So the top level of a document will always have these fields. Then each collection will have their individual additional fields. So there would just be one property called additional fields, and the discriminator would tell me what object type to deserialize those additional fields as. Deserializes APF, deserializes AR, deserializes drawing. That would have been better. But no. Instead, we have relational database, which I love. I know how to work in it. And thank you so much for the follow. Really, really, really appreciate that. Cool. So let me know if you do have any other questions, and I will be happy to try to answer, at least. So we are in the process of trying to apply transformations and trying to determine where to put the validation results. So one thing that I have already done is when you generate output to a specific target type, this is where I'm getting the validation errors on each item in the list of return objects. So that part I can do. But where to store that is the question. Hello, Rashid from South Africa. I'm Bard. Nice to meet you as well. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Probably around late evening, mid-evening for you. I'm not good with time. I'm 32, an electrical engineer. I want to transition from EE to software engineer. Considering my age and job market, is it worth teaching myself or joining a boot camp? Ooh, I wasn't expecting that question. The question I'm going to answer first is, do I think that you can do it? And the answer is yes. You can start at 60 and learn software engineering and get good enough to do software engineering as a profession if that's where your heart is leading you. Definitely. Now, teaching yourself versus bootcamp, because now it sounds like you've already decided that you are going to switch, that you're going to teach yourself software engineering. So the thing that I would say, and hopefully we'll get some feedback from other viewers as well, because I only have my one opinion. And my opinion is usually, it depends. It's very specific to the way that you learn and the way that you grow and what your overall goals are. So I will answer by saying it this way. The way that I learned software development was that I, for the most part, taught myself .NET. I got the very extreme basics from university. So I did go to university for computer science, but they didn't teach me how to code. What they taught me at university was how to persevere and be determined and have some self-respect to be able to accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish. And so it instilled some pretty good values in me, but it didn't really teach me how to do software development. I didn't really learn software development until after I graduated and started self-learning .NET specifically, because they didn't teach .NET at university. Back in the day when I was there, at least. So self-taught, I learned how to write, if you want to talk about semantics, if you're picking at semantics, then whatever phrase you want to put in there, that means, oh, what I meant is that I haven't yet. Okay, well, I'm still learning, so I haven't fully learned software development. Okay, I can go with that. Always learning, always trying to learn new things, pick up on new things. You're okay. You're absolutely okay, Snubble. I'm when I'm answering a question for someone, I go into like serious mode. I'm like, here is a valid answer for you because I don't want to brush off your question as if it's not meaningful. So I have, well, in general, I have trouble seeing humor when it's there. So that's not a you failing, that's a me failing. Anyway, so if you are the type of person, Rashid, that learns by other people showing you hands-on, like, let me show you how to do this thing, let me put you in a situation where you have to solve this problem within this certain amount of time, and you have that pressure put on you, and that's how you learn best, then try a boot camp. There are tons of free resources. So even if you are doing a self-guided course, you at least have these kind of like semi-tutoring types of situations going on. The C# certification that Dukasoft posted is a great introduction to C#. If you learn through videos, there are some YouTube videos that you can watch. There are other guided courses that are on a specific learning path. So yeah, there's a lot. So I'm planning to go into full stack, already have a plan mapped out, but I was thinking about starting with Java just to get the fundamentals done. Sure. If you're going to do full stack, I don't recommend using Java for doing web development, just because, well, it has been a long time since I've used Java for web development, but .NET, in my opinion, and I'm allowed to give my opinion, and you're allowed to ignore my opinion, is tailored more towards doing web development in a full stack kind of way. Same with other JavaScript frameworks. I don't know about full stack, but I know that there are JavaScript frameworks that tout being really good at full stack. Really good for full stack, something. All right, Scott is chiming in and he's saying, I've seen a lot of self-taught people in real life and on the internet, comparing them with those with a degree. I can see a huge difference. A degree goes in depth with architecture, modeling, principles, patterns, etc. that you usually don't learn yourself. This is true, however, like, again, the university experience for me wasn't very much learning the software development in general. Like, yes, I did keep in mind UML and ER diagrams and use case diagrams and stuff like that, but do I ever use it? Not really. I just keep it in mind when I'm creating a piece of software. It really did just teach me a lot of discipline. Yeah, and Tyron is saying, I failed my programming classes and dropped out of college. Been a dev at Microsoft for 25 years now. And for me, again, I would have dropped out of college, but those experiences of being in college, toughing through the things that I didn't want to do, like, I don't know, chemistry and biology. It's like, I don't want to take these undergrad classes. They're a waste of time. I want to do software development related things, which a technical college probably would have been better for me. But point is, I toughed through it. I passed all my classes and I eventually graduated. So I got perseverance out of it. I got determination. I got self-respect. So it was valuable, but not really for software development, other than having those values while working on a project. Thankfully, there are multiple ways to get the career you desire. True, very true. But I guess the CS classes in the mid 90s weren't as full featured. Yeah, even in early ooze. Yeah. Like the one that I struggled with the most. At some point I thought I was going to go into graphics design, that was going to be my focus, and so I started learning OpenGL, and it was it was not for me. And then Maya came out, and I started using that to do some modeling, and I'm like, this is just not working. So I eventually ended on focusing on databases because I wanted to get into enterprise software and mostly data-driven software, because that's what I was doing for my job at the time. Yeah. Okay. And then Snubble also said, my degree was math, physics, a bunch of other things, and some programming. Yeah, awesome. Rashid said, I've tried HTML and CSS. CSS made me doubt my existence. You do get used to it after doing it for a while. You might not ever truly get good at it. I mean, I don't think that I'm good at it yet. But when you learn some things, well, gosh, I'm saying it as if this is going to be true for you. What was true for me is that when I started getting comfortable with SAS, for example, then creating things like this, like just these sample things that are like, here's a bunch of different ways to do this thing that are all broken, and then finally come to a solution. And that solution that I had in the end was not a good one until Dukasoft was like, hey, maybe try this. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And then it worked. But being able to do things with just HTML and CSS, there is zero JavaScript in a lot of these. This pan and zoom, oh, I guess this one has JavaScript. This was just a fun thing that we tried to do in the span of one stream. This was for finite, more JavaScript. Dude, where's all the stuff that doesn't have JavaScript? You were very professional. And thank you so much for the follow. I do not have names showing for new followers in case you just wanted to lurk and not be called out. I think I have a breadcrumb. Is that what this is? The breadcrumbs. I have a breadcrumb that is just CSS somewhere in here. Anyway, there are just some things that you can learn. Oh. Spinners, loaders. Loading is wet. Estapu. Okay, so Cookin' BK. Thank you so much for saying hello. Says, hi, I have a question. I've been wanting to go into ethical hacking and bug bounty hunting, but I don't really know where to start, or don't know where to really start. I know programming. I started programming in 9th grade, currently learning game development as well. But after I want to learn bug bounty hunting and ethical hacking, but also I don't know if they are similar or the same. When I Googled, I see a bunch of different answers. I don't know if I should just learn ethical hacking, then go to bug bounties. I do not know either. That's something that I can't really talk to because I haven't researched it myself. I don't know very much about that. But if anyone in chat does have some responses, then I'm sure they would chime in. You are also welcome to ask questions in our Discord. Maybe you'll get more responses there. It's a it's a fairly quiet Discord. We don't have too much going on in there. So if you're already a part of way too many Discords, then you definitely don't need to join our Discord or anything. But we do have some people there that are very, very intelligent, very smart, especially about things that I just don't have any information about. So definitely feel free to hop in there, ask your question there. If you want to go into more detail and have us actually look for information about it together, I'd be happy to do that on a community day stream, which happens on Fridays on this channel, starting about 30 minutes ago on Fridays. Snubble says, I would have just joined a bug bounty program in attempt to, an attempt to identify bugs, but it's important to read up on what you can and cannot do. You shouldn't take down the production system. True. Yeah. So ethical hacking / bug bounty programs, they're all ways to identify bugs without causing harm. They are ways for you to help as a freelancer, essentially, as a vigilante, to help raise awareness to a company about potential issues they might be having. Maybe. I don't know. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't know these things for sure. I haven't done any research on it, but I would assume that there is the potential for the motivation to be, I just want to make money off of this company, and so I'm going to do bug bounties, versus I am going to help these guys out and make some money at the same time, but do it in a way that is ethical and helpful. My gut feeling is that living on the bug bounties might be tricky unless you're very skilled. Console log Yagami. Yeah, Yagami, sorry. That's a cool name. Yagami. Well, you're definitely welcome in there. Feel free to poke around, ask questions in places. If you see any questions that you happen to have responses for, feel free to answer as well. Even though you are brand new to the Discord, your thoughts and experiences are also beneficial. But like I said, don't expect too much traffic or anything. We get some really good cat pictures from Balint science streams, and then every now and then Findle will post some, and some prog testing dogs, and yeah. I thought I would be posting more food since I started cooking a lot recently, but I haven't. I'm just not really much into social media. It's difficult for me to do. But yeah, as I mentioned though, Fridays are definitely the days for asking more in-depth questions, and I will dig deeper into it with you if you are interested in doing things like that. It's pretty much an open forum. It's kind of like a meetup for the most part. I'll open up a Discord voice channel, and you'll have the opportunity to join with voice if you want. And if you don't feel like using your voice, then you can always participate using chat as well. All right, so where am I at? I'm trying to figure out where to put the validation information. Like as I mentioned at the top of the stream, I was wanting to figure out how a library like Fluent Validation keeps track of the object context, of the validation context for each object. Because it looks like every single time you run the validator, you create a new validation context. But this one says it's a context validator selector factory. And being called a factory, you would think that this maybe caches the context in some way and says when you're trying to validate an object, get the existing context if there is one. Yeah, and I don't want to spend too much time looking through that. I mean, it's a good idea to do it as others have, take it as an example. However, there's something resistant in me to doing that right now, and I'm just going to honor that. So I would like to think about where to put the validation objects. I'm doing the validation one. I guess this is something that matters. I'm doing the validation step in the library for the import process. And so when a user provides an object that has data annotations, which is my use case right now for the main project or for the main library, that it would use those data annotations and validate the objects and report to the user that when there are validation errors, such as in this is only allowed to have a maximum of 3 characters, or this field is required, or this number must be a value between X and Y. And instead of rewriting the validation logic every single time for this, I'd instead just like to use data annotations. For now, we can always enhance the core library later, but for my use case, that's how I want to do it. That said, the overall process that happens is the user drag and drops a file, data. User drag and drops a file. That file is read into a data table. If it has multiple worksheets, then each worksheet is read into its own data table. Then the user will map fields from the file that they provided to our destination object type. And so the data annotations are on our destination type. That's the type that the developer using the library controls, and that's the one that they say the lab is required and must be no more than 3 characters. So when they hit map fields, actually no, there are 3 places that I would like to use the validator. Place number 1 is when they are configuring any transformations to the original data. Wait, where am I? No. This is not helpful. I think I just lost all of my value set values. Drink a coffee. It has no coffee, but I'll drink water instead. Okay, so I am loading a pre-existing template ×2. Do you drink energy drinks? I don't. I have 2 cups of coffee. First thing, well, when I first wake up, I have a cup of coffee and bring it downstairs, start up my work computer and code and start writing code, and then TBD stream comes on. That's about the time I'm halfway through my coffee. And then I finish my coffee, by about 5:30 a.m. and then I go upstairs at 5:50 a.m. and I refill my cup of coffee and come back downstairs, my fresh cup of coffee, and finish that by about 7 o'clock. And that's my last cup of coffee for the day. And then it's water from then on. And it's a lot of water. Speaking of data, Squall, free code camp, SQL tutorial, full database course for beginners. Awesome. You're good over there. Okay, do we have values yet? What is going on? What is happening? Where are my preview results? Was it when I loaded the template? Did I lose all of my preview values? Let's restart the app and see what's going on here. Rollers! I switched to decaf in the afternoon. All right, Cookin says, I've been scrolling through Twitch and I see a lot of devs using AI for help with programming. I don't know if it's good or bad to use AI, subjective. And also, I know a lot of devs use documentation, but I started learning Java and Python, then C#, but now I just focus on learning Godot and GDScript. But after, I'll just stick with Python since it's mainly used for ethical hacking. So yeah, it's definitely a controversial topic. I don't find it to be super controversial to talk about using AI as a tool. But there are people that have strong opinions about it. So while I'm not super duper careful about how I talk about the use of AI, because Automated Realms, the bot that I'm using, is connected to a local LLM. So say something interesting about yourself. So who knows where the data came from for this to train this specific LLM, other than, you know, whoever originally trained the model. But even then, this model is a re-quantization of another model. So who knows if they've added other context and other things. But point is, there is no guarantee that it's kind of like ethically sourced food. There's no guarantee that the content used for training an AI model was ethically sourced. And so if you don't feel good using a model that you can't be like, all right, only people who opted in to have their data trained on are included in this specific model, then yeah, probably should stay away from LLMs or from just AI models in general. However, since the AI models are available and in existence, and they are most likely not going to go away unless something drastic happens, then I am okay with using things like Copilot or Gemini or ChatGPT as a tool to aid me in accomplishing the things that I want. For example, as I mentioned before at the top of the stream, the source generator library was using a different kind of source generator. It was called a it was called an iSource generator. And so to go from an iSource generator, or what I wanted to do with this was to upgrade to the latest code analysis NuGet package version, because I wanted to use the latest version, or at least the versions that are compatible with .NET 8, latest versions that are compatible with .NET 8. But in these versions, you are no longer allowed to have an iSource generator. Instead, you have to have an incremental source generator, and I didn't want to have to look up through the documents. I know that I could figure this out on my own if I went through the documents and stuff, but I didn't want to have to look through the documents to figure out what changes needed to be made in order to turn my iSource generator implementation into an incremental generator implementation. So I said, hey hey Copilot, convert this to use incremental generator. It wrote the code for me, and I didn't just take it for face value. I had to change a lot of things that it spit out at me, but I was able to use that as my starting point for converting it from using iSource generator to incremental generator. And then everything else pretty much stayed the same. So that's using AI as a tool to assist with what it is that you're trying to do, as opposed to, let me just take whatever AI spits out at me, slap it in some code somewhere, and call it my product. Yeah. Dukasoff says, asking AI to explain something is fine. Copy pasta answer, or AI answers, is not a good idea for learning. There are some views that say don't use AI at all during the learning phase because you will not learn. I'm not in agreement with that, but I do see where you could take that stance and you could argue strongly for it and have it be a valid argument. But yeah. It's kind of like the analogy that I typically go to for this is we went from having typewriters to word processing software. So would you rather start typing out a document on a typewriter, mess up somewhere and have to do the whiteout sticker tape stuff, or write everything out on a word processor, edit the document itself, and then when it's finalized, print it out? I mean, we don't print anything anymore, ever, I hope, but that's kind of the analogy that I have for the use of AI, where it's like, here's this tool that can, if used correctly, make things more efficient and potentially better quality because you have all of this extra knowledge backed AI that can hallucinate, that you need to validate yourself. Just like you can't just type something on a word processor and have it give you the grammar and spell check and expect everything to be correct, because it could have some false positives and some false negatives where it changes a there to there and it actually needed to be there. So yeah. It still requires some involvement on your part to look at what's being created. So those are my thoughts. I think AI has made me 30 to 40% faster at coding work projects. My estimates. Cool. Yeah, and for me, like, a lot of times I'll get some kind of recommendation and be like, yeah, that is what I want here, so I'll keep it. And then other times it'll give me something like, I'm sure this was Copilot generated here, and I don't want this because I need a way to store the validation somewhere. So all of this stuff down here was what Copilot spit out at me, and this is what I started to write because this is my thought process now. And it's like, am I keeping this dictionary here, for example? How did I do this before? If not, try add. Yeah, and there it goes. I just hit tab without really thinking too much. But validation results, where are you? It's declared right here. What do you mean I'm trying to use it before it's declared? Oh. Wait, what do you do? This was wrong anyway. So this is a point where AI could slow you down. You had the thing typed in there that you actually wanted, And then suddenly it's like, no, no. The thing that you're actually trying to get. Oh, that's why it thought that. Oh, goodness. This is a list of validation results. Okay. Valres equal, no. If not, so it was doing it the way that it should have. Man, okay. It's because I'm trying to illustrate a point that I'm going back on my words. So yes, this is actually what I wanted. I wanted to try to get the list of validation results for this object that we are currently looking at. Now, I don't know why. Oh, I'm saving the validation context. Oh. Okay, so here was my thought on this. Yeah, let me finish my words first. I don't even know what I was trying to say. I will not finish my words because I don't know. This is so wrong. Point is, I need to do work-related things now and concentrate if I am to get anything done ever. I might actually need to take Wednesday off if it's gonna continue like this. Let's see. I need a place to store the validation results. I'd like to be able to cache the validation results with the object itself. But because the object is defined in the project that is using this library and I don't control it, I'm not even asking the user to decorate it with any attributes so I can do source generator or make it partial or anything like that. TBD says concentration is overrated. True. I was thinking that maybe the validation context itself has some kind of tracker on it. So do you have a tracker of some sort? That's the instance. So I can get a reference to the original object. So that's cool. But I'm not seeing anything essentially that says, here are all of my validation results on the context. Yeah, I agree. So TBD is making a comment. I always thought it was kind of hacky to pass the service provider around the system, but I see it done more and more. Like, the one that is the most interesting to me is passing the service provider to dependency injection in a class, as opposed to just passing in the values of whatever you're using the service provider to get the property of, if it's only being done in the constructor at least. I am guilty of that. That's why I'm pointing that out. But as far as, yeah, I don't even know what they use it for here. But I'm not seeing anything that would be helpful for the reason to keep the validation context, other than not having to instantiate a new validation context every single time. But I'm doing that using the context cache. So I think I'm just going to have to go with the validation result, because validation results gives me which property. The validation result gives me which property. It's for, why does this say member names plural? Gets the collection of member names affected by this result. That's a little confusing to me. I would have thought one single validation result would be for one property, but it kind of looks like it's going to be for the entire object that you're passing. Huh. If and result is something with a count greater than 0. Except that you are an immutable array. Wait, immutable arrays don't have a dot count? Really? Maybe I don't want an immutable array. A shout out for Anasass Dev. Anasass Dev is a very talented developer extraordinaire who is working in multiple technologies. I keep saying multiple technologies, but in this case, I mean like writing her own game engine, doing bot related things. I guess variety streamer is the term that she's used before. So anyway, check her out if you have a chance. Good times over on her stream. She's not streaming now, which she usually is streaming by now, but she's not. Callow Creation just started streaming. I haven't seen you forever. 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 That's awesome. I haven't seen a Callow stream in a million billion years. Okay, GitHub issues runtime. Which is this for? Immutable array should come with a count property. Oh, wait, is this an immutable array? I think I'm looking at this wrong. When it's an array, you don't use dot count, you use dot length. I mean, dot length is the same as dot count, so yeah, on arrays or IE numerables. Yeah. It's just that because of the way that they are constructed, you can't use the same. You don't necessarily know the length of an IE numerable at compile time. Or I don't even know until it's materialized. So you won't know dot count until it's materialized, and so they give you a dot count method on IEnumerable so that you can materialize it and then return the total number of results. Of course, unless that IEnumerable happens to be a materialized list of some sort. Yes, I have athlete's foot. Thank you for telling me, junk mail. I am so in need of athlete's foot powder. Surprisingly, the string build has a length, not a count. yeah, string builder. So that still makes sense to me because strings are essentially arrays of characters. So anything that's an array or an enumer or just an array would have a length property because those are fixed length. And a string builder is kind of, a list is like an array too. A list is, yes. I honestly don't know why they switch from length to count. Yeah, string builder is more like an IEnumerable, not an array. Strings are like arrays. String builder is like an IEnumerable that will do the string concatenation at the end so that it takes up less memory. So you still don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You still don't know the dot count, the concrete dot count of number of elements in the array of characters that make up the final string. You have to run a method that will do that, which again, I don't know what the choice here is for not doing that in the getter, other than being idempotent, I guess, making sure that you're not, I think that's what idempotency is, make sure you're not affecting anything else in the process of doing the get on a property. Is that what idempotency is? No, it's being able to do the same process over and over without getting a different result. What is the term for calling a method without side effects? It's called a pure function, but there's some word for it. For not causing side effects with when you're calling up, getting a value of a property, for example. String builder is a bit like a list, I think, and F# list is an immutable single linked list. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not the one that made the decisions for this. Why go from dot length on regular arrays to suddenly list having a dot count instead of dot length? Because a list is like an array. It's an ordered linked list of objects. I don't know, man. Is it even linked? I don't think. History and inheriting stuff from Java, possibly. I can't speak to it fully. Okay, so I'm taking all of the validation results from every row, and that's the thing that I don't know what exactly it is that I really want to be doing, because is there a way for me to go from a validation result to the instance, to the object instance that this validation result is for? It doesn't look like it. So I would need some association of the validation result to the object being validated, which is what I thought the validation context would give me. And that's why I wanted to keep the context, because then I have hold on. You're back to a dictionary. I'm not going to use my extension method that I put on objects, my helper method, because I do need the context back. I guess there could be an option to provide the context as well. But man, it would be so nice if this just kept the validation results. Okay, doesn't matter. I need to move forward on this. You're gonna hear me say this a lot and probably not really mean it, but I do want to mean it. No, let's just do it like that. But we'll clean this up if we have time. If we come back to it, we'll make this smarter. The problem is that this dictionary needs to be with the field mapping object. Which again doesn't make sense. It's almost like I need another object that is going to be the transformation of t with the validation errors. So kind of a wrapper around the object that is being provided by the developer. So when I say it's being provided by the developer, when the developer is using this library, sorry, the data import library, they will specify what the target type is so that the UI will know when it's setting up all of the field mappings and stuff, which fields to put here, which and what validations to apply to each of those fields, so that when the user is starting to provide values for those, then they can map it from whatever file they drag and dropped and know that it's going to output into this shape of data. So yeah, and I lost my top bar again. So I want a model that is going to be the, like this transformation result here. This is only keeping track of the transformation result as a string so that it can output it in this table, which we're going to get the error because I still haven't fixed the throw error. Not helpful. Field mapping mapper base. Wait, I did tell it to, nope, it isn't you. It's you. Generate output. You. Okay. This is gonna make sense eventually. One day. Oh, itchy. Do the thing. Just load. There's that error when it runs on server, I think. I think it's because it's running on server and there's something happening. No, I missed. I'm gonna have so many copies of this file. You don't need to read this GitHub issue, by the way. It's just they considered adding the count property. Yeah, I was just glancing through it while I was waiting for this to load. Okay, so when we push the map, the transformation results are the things that are getting printed out. So for each field, we get a transformation result for each row. So did I say that correctly? For each row, for each field in each row, this is a transformation result. This is a transformation result. This is a, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Man. And then same here. For each value transformation operation, the in value is the original value in a transformation result, and the out value is the value property in a transformation result. And then this list is just the list of transformation results with the original value and the final transformed value. Which updates in real time. Well, with the debounce, but in real time. Okay, cool, good. What does that tell me? That tells me that I still want the validation messages to be with the field mapping, because the three places, I'm finally getting around to this, the three places that I want the validation to occur is in this window, when we are specifying what rules to use when transforming the input value, the incoming value, to our outgoing value for this particular field. Hello, Cataton! How is your day going so far? So this is one place that I want to show the validation. If this field accepts no more than 3 characters, then I want all values that are exceeding 3 characters, all output values that are exceeding 3 characters to show as having a validation error. The second place I would like to see the validation, some kind of notification that this field includes validation errors, there are some values in this field that are invalid, is right here in this field mapping editor. So here we see that the lab and lot are required, but if for some reason there was a value that was invalid, then I want the validation message to show up here and have it say there are some fields that do not meet validation requirements or whatever. Some cool text that cool people would say. And then the last place is here in the preview output, so that for each value in here that is an invalid value, it would show up down here. So that's why it makes the most sense, I think, to put the list of validation results. No, I can't do that. If I put it with the field mapping, then it's going to be for a given column. I'm so confused. It goes reasonably well. Been tinkering with Arc. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how that one is intended to be pronounced on a VM for like a week now. It's an experience, as Cataton. Same, so same. Yeah. I really don't know. Oh, I think it's as an archer, so it would be arch. That's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. I will allow it. How am I going to do this? I'm just so... I haven't made a decision, and it's been 3 hours? 2 hours? I could put it in table definitions. So what do my table definitions currently look like? My table definitions look like a list of imported record field descriptors and a list of field mappings. I could put the list of transformation validation errors. So this could have a new object. Transformation validation error. My boss. 2 hours of what work? What am I even paying you for? Me. That's so mean. Be nice to Dukasoft. Public class this. So what would this look like? I'd have to know which row this is for. Like, obviously the thing that would be really nice to have in here is the public validation context, because that would give me the record that it's for. The public list of validation result. And that would give me the results. It's just there's still no way of linking the record this is for with a specific field. This is so breaking my brain. Data table. C# data tables. Domain-driven design, aka Scott, who's been lurking, is also streaming on occasion whenever he can. He's a .NET developer. It's very helpful when he's on other people's streams and just does some really cool stuff on his stream. Check him out if you get the opportunity. C# data tables, validation. Can we add validation to data tables? We can do set column error. Yay, this is using OLEDB. Not helpful. It's too ugly to want to look at. I'm not even looking at it closely. So for each row, you can set column error for a specific field. Not Scott. Oh my god. Already updated it to say, hello, domain-driven design. That's hilarious. Okay. This might work. This might work. Could it work? All right. What if transformation, which one of you guys is my transformation helper? How am I going to do this? which one of you guys does the transformation to data table? Okay, this one. Apply transformation. Oh man, but there aren't. And we have a list of field mappings. Okay. And for each mapped rule and field mappings, we get the transformed result. We're setting the value. So this is where we can validate. So validate the current transformed result. And we can do that using the field mapping rules that we have, because did I keep it? Did I keep the enumerable of validation attributes? Var validation equals field. I need a good way to do this. Field mapping dot, no, field map validate. Wait, oh no, that's not gonna work. How am I trying to do this? Does anyone know what I'm trying to do? Because I sure don't. Forgot I had that account. You streamed on that account. Have you forgotten that you used to stream too? That you streamed at least once? Is that why we haven't seen any of your streams lately? Oh no, that's completely okay. I know that my ultimate goal right now is to provide validation on stuff. And right now, the way the stuff is organized is as a data table. And so I want to display validation issues in the data table per field mapping. So the field mapping itself is one thing that I want to have validation rules. So field mapping here await stuff.validate. Problem solved. Yeah, that's, well, okay. The process of how everything gets set up is as follows. User picks a file, drags and drops it in here, or even before that, I'm sorry. The developer has specified that our target type is going to be their user defined model, their custom model. For me, it's an RTrack upload model. When the component is used on the page, then we set the target type. And that target type is the thing that contains all of the information that we need. Where's set target type? Oh, okay. So, nice. I almost lied. I never lie though. You just misheard me. So the target type is set when the developer puts the component on the page and says, use this target type. When the user drag and drops a file, then part of that setup is to set the target type. And the setting of the target type is the thing that determines what validation rules we should use. And the way that I'm doing that is using reflection, which I really want to cache all of this stuff. Oh, I do cache all of this stuff somewhere. So inside of my set this up, we get a field mapping, which says, here is a target property. Here's the target type of that property. The only validation thing that I'm keeping track of is whether that property is required or not, because I'm allowing this to be specified as a in a different way instead of just through the required attribute. But here I'm saying if the user has, or if the developer has specified that this is one of the required fields by passing it in as a parameter as a required field, then it's required. Otherwise, check the property for the required attribute. And if the required attribute is defined, then that means that it is required. But then also grab any other validation attribute. So a string length, a range, required validation of some sort, custom validation. So that's the point that the validation gets captured for the target type. But we aren't at that target type yet. What we are currently at is a list of field mappings that will associate zero or more of the input fields with a target type field. And so the place that I want the validation to happen is when the user opens up this tool or this window, I don't know what this is called, this flyout, and starts specifying for the site ID field mapping. And I'm getting values from the site ID field of the incoming file. Validate each of the output values based off of the rules up here. So let's say that I have a rule that says the site ID is not allowed to be any longer than 5 characters. Then all of these should show up as invalid output. That's the first step. So at this point, we're not even at the target type, the C# object type. We're just one field, one set of values. I know. I mean, that's typical, but that is an immediate ban. That is not allowed. It's so hard for me to find the ban button. Thank you for that, Dukabot. Non-bot bot, Dukabot. Okay. So for this data table here, this is where I want to apply validation. This is the first place that I want to apply validation. I'm going to look at only this. This one time in Bandcamp. I guess that's why I'm still around. Hard to find the ban button. Oh, Snapple. You're an amazing person. I wouldn't ban you even if I could. Even if I knew where my ban button was. The second place that I would like to apply validation eventually, so let's just focus on this one place here. We're going to apply validation such that it will show up here. Second place though is here, where if any of the values for this specific field mapping has a validation error, then I want it to show here. So in this window, it's on a specific value that has an error. In this window, it's if any of the values are invalid. And then finally, in this preview data table, so this still isn't the C# object yet, identify any of the fields so that I can put a glyph or an icon up here that says there are invalid values for this field, and then the actual values that are invalid in the table. So at this point, I'm still only working with either the field mapping object with their transformation results or the data table. And I think the way that I do this in a data table is by doing data row.add.set error or something like that. But then I'm going to have to clear all of the errors every single time too. So let's start with the one spot that I said we're going to start with, which is in this value transformation. We're going to go with the lab. And we're going to use something like field sample number, because I know that field sample number is going to be longer and it has a lot of different values. So the field sample number is going to be longer than the allowed length for this field, which is 3. So that's going to happen in here. Yeah, so this is where I'm trying to validate it. That's exactly where I am at. Value transformation helper. But where to store the validations? That's still the issue. So this is for one row, and this is validate. And the thing that we're going to validate is the transform result. Why field map? Where is field map coming from? Oh, the actual mapper. Wait, you're supposed to be field map. And there is a nice little shout out for Tyndall's Nodocs. If you were ever interested, or if you're ever a person who needs to present to a group or you stream and you use Visual Studio, I highly recommend Nodocs. Nodocs is an extension that you can use in order to block out any values that you have in an XML or JSON file. And you can display them for yourself, of course, but this is extremely helpful if you happen to have or accidentally open your user secrets or have a config file that you don't want the keys to be showing, or the values. I keep saying keys, I mean values. The values to be showing on whatever display device you happen to be presenting on. I don't know what I just closed. Okay, so if I do validate, then this should give me back a validation result. But how? But how? So I have my list of validation attributes. So maybe we can go for each var validation attribute. Oh, in validation attributes. We should be able to apply validation attribute dot validate. Yeah, what are you expecting? Value and the validation context. But again, we're working in a data table and we don't have a C# object to validate. And not only that, man, but the transformation result, as I mentioned before, is always going to be a string. So if there's a numerical validation on it, Yeah, that's always going to be a string. And we aren't going to get a typed output. Do I need to make a typed transformation result? Man. What if, okay, here's another thought. I'm going to leave that there because I want to make sure that it errors before I try anything further. Except, oh my gosh, I don't have the target type at this point. I'm just backing myself into a corner. Because like the thing that I want to be able to do here is use all of the target type stuff. So I have field type here. And what I would like to do is past my transformation result dot value this one's easy. If transform result is null and return required validation result. What else can we put in a validation result? Member names. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Why are you angry at this? Possible null reference? What's null? New validation result or success? Why is success null? What? The null value is used to indicate success. Consumers of validation results should compare the values to validation result.success instead of checking for null. What? Oh my god. Okay, I have a better idea. You're going to be bool. Out var. No, out validation result. Nullable validation result. This is going to be not null when true. Not null when false is what I said. If required else return null. I mean, validation result is null. Oh, we can do it this way. required. Null. Return. Validation result is null. Await idea dot better. Not gonna happen. You'll be waiting indefinitely with no timeout, no cancellation token. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we have some sort of value converter. I should already have one if we're able to turn our data table into an object. A data table row into an object, or data table into a list of object. So where is that? Rows of type x.to object. T target type this data row using reflection. Give me a second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to see if stepping away is going to give me any inspiration. Give me any thoughts. I'll be right back. Please hold. One lane is bathroom thinking. I like it. Okay. The only thing that I could bathroom think about. Oh, geez. I thought I left that in the bathroom. Didn't mean to bring it with me. Sorry, guys. I apologize. Was that a double fart sound just then? No, I wanted to hear some. Anyway, good job, Dukasoft. How did it give you 4 extra points? Your arrow wasn't in the air for that long. This pointing system, man. Okay, so the only thing that I could bathroom think about for this was to create a new method that is like to get apply transformation with validation. and then have that take in a target type. But it doesn't make sense because I am keeping track of the validations for this specific column. Extra mod points, obviously. Oh, what is that? Mod love? Mod love? Oh, that's awesome. It's a bit gamey mod love too. Man, he's got so many good emotes. I thought the lid was still on. Okay, so I have all of my validation attributes that I want to apply for a specific field. So I should just be able to apply this. You know what? Let's just see what happens. Let's apply this to our transformed result value. So if the value is also null, and the field is required. Okay, so if I'm not casting it, then we're just going to get its void. How do I get back the... Validate doesn't do what I thought it does. I thought that validate would give me back a Boolean or the validation result. But validate is a void, and it's expecting the name of the property to be validated. Oh, wait. No. This is a reflection validate. No, that still doesn't make sense. Data annotation validation attribute apply to single value. Can I apply a data validation to a single value and not to an actual instance object's member? Shout out to Dukasoft. Dukasoft has been doing some drone footage streaming. Amazing times. I still can't believe that I missed his stream. It was the first stream he had in a while. I wasn't streaming that day, so I had no excuse to miss his stream other than I didn't see him go live. And I was just devastated because I love hanging out in his stream. Oh, I should do a better job of shouting you out. That way you don't have to feel awkward about shouting yourself out. But yeah, his streams, he plays very good music on it. Amazing drone footage. In fact, I think he had a clip from his most recent stream. Dukasoft, so we can see it. Nope, this is from a while ago, but it was still a lot of fun. Great picture quality, just masterful, and great discussions on his stream as well. Just good times overall. So check out his stream if you get the chance. This is his real face, by the way. I've seen it in real life. That's exactly what it looks like. It's all hovery. It kind of messes with the brain. You're all like, can you just sit still for a while? And he's like, his body is still, but his head is going. Partner push. Partner push. Okay. This isn't doing what I thought it was going to be doing. Yeah, still needs the object instance. I mean the validation context. I'm getting nowhere. All right, how can I just make this work then for me? These validation attributes aren't gonna do anything for me if I don't have the underlying object, because these care about the actual C# type. And I was thinking that we could just use the value attribute, validation attribute. The video from my last stream is on YouTube. I did watch it though. I did watch it. It just felt bad not being there live. Your streams are even better live. No quacks given. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I need to do something to get this to just work. I can't apply the validation attributes to a value without an object. And I don't know the type of object by this point in time unless the validation attribute itself keeps track of who its object type. Message its value. Not saying I don't care. Typed one of his YouTube titles? I don't know what that means. And then Scott was asking you, Dukasoft, if you what editing software are you using? Is valid the value, but we also need the validation context if we're going to use this one. And then is valid providing only the object itself. Oh wait, with a null validation context, this is so confusing. Let's see is valid. Is valid. Is that internal? It's protected. So we're not going to get back the validation result, though, is the problem. We're going to get back whether or not it's valid, but we're not going to get back what is invalid about it. And he's using DaVinci Resolve. Are you using the free version? He's using... It's one-time purchase, and do you get updates to it? Yes and yes. Yeah, it's definitely a one-time purchase. I mean, Dukasoft already answered you, but I'm gonna read out your conversation. Scott was asking Dukasoft which editing software he uses. Dukasoft said DaVinci Resolve. I use the paid version. Scott says, I just typed one of his YouTube titles, no quacks given. Oh, that's what that was. Okay, got it. Not me saying I don't care, as in no quacks given. I was just typing out one of his YouTube titles. It looked interesting, he said. Then Dukasoft posted the link to DaVinci Resolve. Scott says 2050, I don't know what the name of the crones? I don't know what the monetary unit is called. There's a free version. Scott says is a one-time. Do you get updates to it? Yeah, just curious about your purchase. Dukasoft said yes and yes. And Draw Curiosity, we were recently rated over to her from BitGaming stream, and she was talking about DaVinci Resolve on her stream, how she uses it, and how yes, it is absolutely worth your time. You pay once for it and you get indefinite updates as opposed to a subscription based, but there's no guarantee that they won't go to subscription based eventually. But at the moment, it is a one-time purchase with lifetime updates. Thank you for your responses, Dukasoft. So how am I supposed to get the validation result? Who else gives a validation result? Get validation result is public. Throw if null validation context. Throw if null validation context. There's no way for me to be able to use a validation attribute on a value and get back the validation result. What was invalid about it? Because what if B, well, maybe if not is valid, okay, okay, okay. Validation results equals new list of validation results. Add return validation results count. Yeah, and again, this is where Scott and I will have a discussion about using .any instead of .count, because .any will use the appropriate method to get the count faster than I could, because I don't know what the best method to get the is there at least one element. But Visual Studio will give the suggestion. I still don't know why you're angry at this. Yeah. Visual Studio will give the suggestion that you should use the count property if the property exists. But if it's a method, then you should use the .any instead of .count, because .count will need to materialize the whole list and then return the total number of items in the materialized list, versus .any just says, is there at least one? But it used to be the case that Visual Studio would recommend using .any even if you were using the .count property. Okay, I know what's wrong with that. We have not set our out variable. So our out variable is going to be a list of validation result. And you're going to be a new collection with one item. And you are going to be validation result. Let me do this first. Val result, val res, val results, and you are going to be validation result. Results.any. I mean, val results. Shish fun. I really need to update my alarms. And then we'll have you be is not all. Is no. Okay. When we don't have any validation. Thank you, Big Gamey. I don't need my heart anyway. We can just let it explode. It's fine. Validation results. Okay. And I want you to be plural. That was it. Maybe I should do it before you shut my territory. No thanks. I mean, I appreciate your bits, but that seems like a bit excessive. I'll just turn my headphones down and then it'll be less valuable. But I don't want to dishonor you and do that. You know? What is that? Draku. Oh, Draw Curiosity's frog. Yeah, I was gifted a sub on her channel. She had a train going. So when you rated her Big Gamey, she had a what's it called? Hype train. Yeah, it was probably from Big Gamey's stream on Friday. I think it was Friday. Yeah, and whoever it was just gifting everyone that got there a sub. So there's no one that didn't get a sub. And then I was like, this isn't really the type of content that I want to be lurking on, but since I got a sub, I'll be there. I actually wasn't exactly sure what she streams. It kind of seemed like she was doing some video editing at first, and then I just don't know. I wasn't sure. It wasn't software dev or game dev, so I don't know. I don't know what it was. If you can tell us about her though, Big Gamey, on your next stream, you don't have to do it through chat. That'd be cool. And then I can write a blurb. A blurb. Yeah, I saw that she was showing the just talking about her stream because I wasn't sure what exactly she streamed. I did see that she was showing the little control deck thing for DaVinci, I have seen those before. They're really cool. But the fact that DaVinci sent her hardware to use, that's really awesome. Dr. Inez Dawson goes to work on her future videos. So yeah, I think she does video editing on stream. That's kind of the vibe that I got. Oh yeah. I knew it because of a YouTuber named Jazza, who did a lot of art. Like I was consuming anything art related. Mark Crilly and Jazza, and I don't know that I could name them all off. I feel bad when I can't give credit to the people that gave me entertainment for hours and hours and hours. So I instead of lurking on streams at that point in time in my life, I was watching YouTube videos of artists doing what they do best. And I loved watching it. I wanted to learn how to draw too, but I didn't do a very good job of it. So yeah. Anyway, Jazzo was one of the people whose stream got bigger and bigger, and then he had a falling out with Adobe, it kind of seemed like, or a falling out with Wacom, or both. And he switched to using DaVinci Resolve, and he did an episode with DaVinci Resolve where they were guests appearing on his channel. Oh, thank you so much for that, Dicksoft. Oh, thanks. It's terrible. She usually does science streams like Belint, but she was talking about just editing when we rated in. Oh, okay. Interesting. Very awesome. I'm into sciencey things. I just wasn't able to pay attention much because of this project, and I'm getting nowhere. I'm doing absolutely nothing right now. Let's go to Dell and see what happens. If not, validate out var validation results. Okay, so if we are not valid for this one value for this one field, thank you so much for the bets. Super duper kind of you. I can't have Duca upstaging me, says Big Gamey. Now I'm at the top of the leaderboard with, wait, 69? Good job, Big Gamey. You're about to get banned. No. Thank you so much for your bits. Dang, it was a trap. Good game, Ducasoft. Our new data row dot dest row dot set column error. I don't know. Is this what I want? You know, I really don't ever use environment.newline, and I should, because this is static, I'm assuming. I mean, it has to be if I'm able to do it like this. So it's kind of like using string.empty instead of double quote empty string. I should use this more often. Okay. We know you're not going to be null. So this column will get an error of error messages. That's fine. I'm okay with that. With the carriage return. Okay. All right. I want to know if this works. And if this does work, then this is how I'm going to do it for the preview table and for the value transformation previews as well. Do I have a test written for transformations? Test crashed. Please do your testing on your own gear. No, you can't make me. I will say no, sir. Diagonals. Where are my... I don't even know what I would have called this thing. That's my sample data. Field mapping tests. Okay, so I want a field mapping test on my I'm going to create a new test model. Where are my test models? Oh. Wait, no. Where are my test models? Fake target type. And then public class, fake target type with validation. Okay. So we're going to have a fake target type and then a fake target type with validation, where we're going to make this required. And we're going to make the random field name. Yeah, we're going to make this string length maximum of 10 characters. Bardaki! A shout out to Bardaki, a fantastic game developer who is working on a game called The Unwanted War. He has a Steam page for it and something about a demo. Yeah, it shows how much I pay attention. Look, guys, I lurk on the majority of streams. I don't actively participate very often, and when I do, I still have no idea what I'm talking about or doing. It goes in one ear, out the other. That's why I don't ever expect anyone to be fully participatory in any of my streams, because I don't want to lock you into that. Why do wizards clean their teeth 3 times a day? To prevent bat breath. Do wizards eat bats or something? Aw, he's got a Bardaki pat head emote. Reminds me that I should brush my teeth someday. Dukasoff might need to. Dukasoff was talking about a dentist visit this morning. Sorry if that was offensive. I apologize. Let's make this 5. Actually, 10 is good. The other bot gave a joke. Said, why was the robot angry? Because someone kept pressing his buttons. I don't get it. I like saying I don't get it, by the way. Field mapping tests. We're going to test that a field mapping. No, this needs to be a value transformation test. Yeah, where's the thing? Like, I know that I'm I have a test that is covering the data row. What file are we even in? This one. You don't have any tests. Yeah, I don't even know how I'd get started with that. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to run this with the debugger attached instead of writing tests. Too hurty. Stupid dentist. Not really, though. I should write a test for this. I just can't think of how to do it right now for some reason. I'll probably end up doing it today after the stream or tomorrow. I have a meeting with the new GIS specialist today. It's going to be fun. We're going to get more stuff figured out. Try to get the map closer and closer to... are you going to launch closer and closer to being real-time updatable? So bright. Not helpful. Are you gonna crash and tell me why you do so when you're running in server? No, you're just gonna work. Okay, we're going to try to map the field sample number to lab, and we know that the lab 1 is required, but 2 has a data annotation on it that says the value of the lab property is only allowed to be up to 3 characters. And if we look in here, we will see that the values are going to be more than 3 characters. And apparently I'm doing the one here instead of the one in that list. Good job, me. Oh, wow. Whoops. I even put the breakpoint in the wrong place. I wanted to see the actual validate method happen. But the cool thing is that it came back as invalid for field name lab. And the validation errors that we got are null. Why is the validation error null? Okay, next field. Let's grab actually I'm going to do it down here. Field name is lot. We should get a validation error on this one because it's required and it currently doesn't have a value. So transform result value is null, validation results is required, then a new validation result, the field is required, field name. And so this one does have a message. Why didn't we get a message for this one? Okay, so this one actually gives us a validation message this time. I don't know why this one has a bang. We'll find out though. Tier 3 emote. Another one, emote show off. Oh yeah. Cool dentist. That just looks like a duck with a cool cap, Big Gamey. Chickasoft says, I like my current dentist. They're really nice and understanding of my anxiety disorder. I was really surprised when the dental office that we went to earlier this year end of last year. It was like November of last year, and we said we were going to go back once I figured out my dental insurance situation. Anyway, haven't been back. They were really cool because they have a program, or it looked like something special about the way that they interact with patients who are more anxious, who have a propensity to be more anxious at the dental office. And it's not just take some Novocaine and you're good to go for the entire visit. It's like the way that they approach you, the way that they talk to you. They're just pretty respectful, and I was just really surprised that they would go out of their way to do that. The specific dentist that saw me, at least, was very, very cool, very laid back, and understanding that I just don't like being around people physically. Are you suggesting that dentists don't wear caps or sunglasses? What are you trying to say exactly? There was nothing about that was specific to dentistry. There was only stuff that is specific to cool. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm not saying that not all, I mean, that no dentist wears caps or cool glasses. I'm saying that not all people who wear caps and cool glasses, or ducks that wear caps and cool glasses, are dentists. Ha. The result is null for you. Next. Matrix. The result is null for matrix. Unit of measure, closure indicator. Come on. Give me something with a non-null value. Okay, HD. Test name is HD. The test name field on an R-Track model is... I'm so blind. 6 characters, so this should not be an error, but it should have a validation attribute of string length. And string length can be no more than 6 characters. It is valid. Oh. Okay. I see why we didn't get an error message on the other one. I was assuming that error message, if it wasn't populated on here, so like you have the option to specify error message, error message. If the error message was not populated, that we would get a default error message. What is this?
Make it so.
Make it so. Oh, that requires a validation context. What is default attribute?
Proceed.
Onward. Gosh. There is no default error message. So how does it internally know when it's creating a new validation error? Create failed validation result. It's private protected. I don't have access to that. Hello, Spy 11911. I am in the middle of confusing myself. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna put in a basic good luck. It doesn't take much. No. Hi, welcome in. I am One Lion. So I see that you haven't chatted here before, but if you don't know who I am One Lion, and I stream .NET development. I am working on my work product, and right now that is a data import utility that can take a worksheet, either an Excel workbook or a CSV file, turn it into a data table, and eventually, after setting up some field mappings, dump it to a database as a specific object type. So what I'm trying to do now is capture any validation errors. So my target type has all of these data annotations that I would like to be able to apply during this import process. So if I encounter a value that doesn't fit that specific output property, then I would like to display it for the user to know validation occurred. Validation error occurred. So right now we're just going to use this. That way I have some kind of UI for it. I really don't want to require anyone who is using this import library to have to specify an error message. I'd really rather prefer getting the error message, the default error message back, if there wasn't an error message for the specific attribute. So let's just take a quick look at this again in debug, and see that it is at least capturing the string length field issue, the required field or required attribute. But it's not going to be very meaningful if we can't capture the actual attribute type, validation attribute type, and its default message. I could have sworn that the default error message on a what's it called? On a string length attribute was the string must be between curly brace 0 and curly brace 1. Yeah, map. Actually, you know what? If I load the mapping, one of the mappings is this matrix here, and the matrix field, the matrix, is only allowed to be 1 character long. Right? Matrix, yeah. It's only allowed to be 1 character long, but the incoming values are going to be, of course, my preview results went away, and they should not have. Will you come back if I close and reopen? Pretty please? No? Fine. We'll still see it. So matrix results are like the matrix that this is referring to is, are we looking at a water table, or are we looking at a soil, or are we looking at air for this lab sample? But yeah, we don't need this anymore. We would like to only capture if there are validation errors. No, you were supposed to give me a validation error on matrix. So this is 2 characters, which is telling me that we did not actually capture the string validation on matrix, but it did work on lab, which is really odd. So if I change lab to be something that's longer than 3 characters, I hit map, and then I tell it to do this again, it's not catching it anymore. Nani? Oh, man. Is it because I'm already setting rules to truncate? No, I'm not. It was working. You guys saw it was working, right? Okay, let's do it without loading our previously. I'm not super angry, I'm just frustrated. That's all. Kind of the same thing when it comes to me. Okay, I'm not going to load one of my templates. Go, do the thing. Instead, if you were super angry, it would have been a super angry line, or I would have said super angry line. True, truth, super truth, soup and truth. Because it doesn't have to be one or the other. Okay. All right, you win. It's defeating me. So we are picking a field sample number for the lab. And if we hit this one, it does the validations. And we should have hit the breakpoint. It's all flashing at me. Okay, so the install code is required, but we have not specified a value for it. Therefore, are you required? Is that true? Installation code. Yeah, so installation code is required, and we didn't provide a value, therefore we have a validation error. Same with file type. Wow, I don't remember file. No. Wait, what? No. Now it's giving me an error for all of them. The transformed value is null for all of them. Oh, wait. It's not an error unless, yeah, so we're only going to stop at this breakpoint if validation results is null. Okay, my bad. Don't mind me. And then same here. We're going to put the breakpoint down here instead. And settings, conditions. Only break here if validation results is null. Is not null. That's what I said. I'm good at this. Okay. Move. Update. Es no es null. Save. Okay. There we go. So now this one should be the lab field. It is. And the current string coming in is 09131901. And this field is expected to be no more than 3 characters. And so we are actually not valid. The thing that I want to get here is from our validation attribute, error message string. It's right here though. The problem is I don't know the attribute type nor the error message. So how do we apply string.format to this? Like if we're only looking at this as a validation attribute, we would need to know the error message string, the placeholders. So in this case, we have curly bracket 0, curly bracket 1, and the values that belong in those placeholders. Here we know it's display name or field name. And here we know it's supposed to be max length, but we don't know that every time we reach this, it's going to be a string length attribute. So is there a way for us to use their sample of how they populate? Angry Lion says one. Never. Nunca. You're imagining things. Oh man. I gotta start getting ready for this meeting. Oh. Wait, what? Var error message equals, maybe Copilot will give me a hint, but it kind of looked like the name, the user visible name to include in the formatted message. Error message string. Okay, this looks promising. So format error message might automatically populate the placeholders with the appropriate properties for that message type. I guess we're gonna find out. And if this works, this will be the last thing that I do for today, because I have a meeting at 1:30 in 28 minutes, and I want to take a quick break, maybe get some food. It'd be nice to eat once in a while. I did have a meal bar before the stream started 4 hours ago. Plenty of water. Lots and lots of water. Exclamation point, eat. Error message, pepkek. I don't know what that means. Does it mean angry? Okay, let's do the lab. Fields. This is the only field that I can think of off the top of my head that's longer than 3 characters. I mean, we have plenty to pick from. We got site ID, site type. I could just use this screen to find it. Whatever. Okay, breakpoint. We are on field name lab. And the error message will now look like, do a quick watch. The field lab must be a string with maximum length of 3. That's exactly what I was looking for. Oh man, thank goodness. The question is, do I need to check for an existing error message? So if the user, when they were, or not user, if the developer, when they were setting up the data annotation, if they specified an error message here or an error message resource name or whatever, is the format error message method here going to use the error message that they specified? Because this looks like it is always using the error message string. Property. But the error message string property is protected, which means that we wouldn't be able to change it ourselves. Therefore, it could be, yeah, and it's hard to find where it's used, but it could be that when you set the error message on your data attribute, it will update the error message string or error message resource accessor or whatever. So here's default error message resource. Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they have something that is called default error message internally Private protected. I don't think I've ever really seen private and protected used on a property. But anyway, all that air is the problem. What do you mean by air? Mostly nitrogen, as I'm sitting here coughing up a lung. And then a boolean that says custom message or custom error message set. This is just telling me that eventually, yeah, it'll default to using the error message if there is an error message set. So I should be able to use format error message and everything will get set that I need to. I think we're good. I think this does it. So my next trick will be to display these validation errors in this big data table that we are about to return to. Okay, so in here, I'll be able to see all of the validation errors because the data table itself will keep track of this. That also gave me the ability to validate values inside of the field map. So when I am inside of a value configuration, I should have access now for each of these outputs. Since this thing should have the field mapping associated with it, I should be able to get any validation errors here as well. Is that a lie? We may as well look at it. This is called, man, I have so many things open right now. This is called the value something or other. Value transformation details or configuration. Or both. Why not both? Wait, what? How long have you been like that? Whoops. Nobody saw anything. I wasn't even mentioning anything. It was all good. Everything was perfect. There was nothing wrong with that file not being named .razor.cs, even though it's the partial code behind for the component. Anyway. So the transformation rule details. Okay, so it isn't in the configuration. It's in the transformation rule details. And this is where the results are. So here's where I would interesting. Here's where I would most likely want to specify my error messages, but I did not realize that I put an error message on the actual transformation result. So what that should mean, where's my code behind? Is as I am getting the transformation result for, oh, is this only one though? This isn't the place I was looking for. These are not the droids I was looking for. This is a single transformation result. And I don't want to put the validation on a single transformation result because I don't want the user seeing, let me give an example. Oh, it's so close now. So I know that I'm going to be able to validate the object itself. So when we convert it to a list of object, I'll be able to grab the validation results, which is why I wasn't talking about that. But when we try to submit it to the server, it's going to validate the object that we're submitting before submitting it to the server and on the server, because validation everywhere. Okay. You can do it. Do the thing where you open the sidebar. There you go. Okay, so in this window, you can chain multiple value transformations together. I don't want to show every single step that is violating the, that is violating any of the validation rules, because the only thing that matters is the very last output for a given field or for a given value. This is the only thing that we really care about, whether this is valid or not for that field. And we would be able to see it for all of them. I already have some UI here for if at least one of them is invalid. Like, let's say we had a... Oh man, this is going to be hard to make it to where only one field is invalid. Let's say we had a regex that pulls out only numbers, because that's my favorite regex. So you already saw, like, if I have an invalid regex rule. Oh, come on, there was a invalid regex rule thing. You saw it. It had the red triangle and the wow, it's just giving me empty string for a invalid value. Anyway, I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not combined fields. Let's try, oh, a substring. A substring on this. There we go. A substring on an array will give us back an error, and here's our UI for error with a message on what the actual error is. So we're going to be able to do that when we get a validation error for one particular field. Like, let's say it's not all of the fields that have errors because of my fat finger on this. But yeah, point is, I want it to be in here. $0 $0 $0 plus $1. And there we go. My math works. All right, Draw Curiosity is here. Hello, Draw Curiosity. I have seen you around before, most likely on BitGaming stream. Was summoned by a dashboard notification. Like just now? Because I started streaming 3 hours and 45 minutes ago, maybe something. But I am about to end my stream though, because I have a meeting and I want to take a quick break. But before I do want to answer your question on what are we building. Oh, a shout out. Perfect. Must have been a Dukasoft shout out that I didn't see, which is weird because I tried to look at all of them. That's mean of me. I'm sorry. Did we shout her out? I remember talking about your stream. Maybe it was because I saw Dukasoft shout you out. Anyway, so yes, I raided over to your stream for the first time with BitGaming on Friday, I think it was, and you were showing off the DaVinci Resolve control tool thingy. I'm almost always in BitGaming streams. And then I was gifted a sub during that massive hype train that you had going. Like, everyone was gifted a sub. Yeah, we were just talking about it. It was awesome. It was very cool. But yes, my alarm is telling me that I need to get ready for the meeting. I can't delay any longer, even though we have just made progress in this, and I love making progress. Yeah, we're getting close. like I said, to answer your question though, the thing that we've been working on the stream is a tool to be able to import a CSV or Excel file into an application, import the data from it, and transform it into a C# object, into a class, by doing some value transformations on the imported field data. Because the place that I stream my day job, my work, and I work for the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge, which is a place that they used to build chemical weapons when it was called the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. And then they disposed of those chemical weapons, sold off part of the land to a pesticide manufacturing company. That pesticide manufacturing company didn't dispose of their waste very well. And so the mix of all of the chemicals in the area were causing birth defects, animal mutations, environmental hazards everywhere. So it became a Superfund site that needed to be cleaned up. This is like 1940s, 1950s. So they went through this entire cleanup process, set up some waste or water treatment plants. We're now in the process of just monitoring that everything is still good. The cleanup is done. Animals are doing well. It's a National Wildlife Refuge now. It has the Eagle Repository, which is a place that all of the eagles, eagle remains go. If you find some on a highway, put it in a box, send it via UPS, USPS, UPS, whoever, to the Eagle Repository, and it'll arrive here. They take the eagle remains and clean them up, give them out to local tribes, local Native American tribes, on request. Actually, not even local, just across the US, my bad. Lots of stuff. Anyway, so that's what I work for. We send our water and soil samples to labs. The labs perform tests on them and give us results back. And it used to be that only one lab did, and we had an expected file format that they would give us back that would get imported into a system and then have the records checked. But now we're sending it out to different labs, and we don't know what all labs we're going to be sending it out to or what format they're going to be sending us the files back in. We just know it's either going to be a CSV or an Excel workbook with columns and rows of data. So this is a tool to be able to transform the data we get back into the one that our database expects, so that we can run the records checks on them. And that's what we're working on. Yeah, we all have your amazing emotes now. I'm no good at emotes, if you couldn't tell. I have like 2 of them. Do I have a favorite one of yours? I guess this would be me. Yeah. But now you know. Yeah, I would, except that I don't really interact with people outside of the stream. Like, I'm an opt-in interactor, and that only happens on stream. And then anytime outside of stream hours, it's like me and my wife, we're in a little box, stay away from everything else. We send out love all the time. We send out love energy, and hopefully you're receiving some of that, but that's the most of our interaction. Anyway, I'm going to go to this screen because I do need to get ready for this meeting, as I've said about 16 times now. I do appreciate you all being here. I wanted to write out to someone that I have not seen their stream in a while, and I'm super glad they are. Oh man, so many people to choose from though. So many people to choose from. Do you guys want a comfy stream? Which would be Instafluff, where he is making some food for a potluck. Or Kella Creations, who I haven't seen stream in a while, who's doing some Unity asset development. He's an amazing streamer, really chill, really good times over on his stream. Do you have a preference? Vote for calm. They're both calm. I don't know. I guess InstaFluff can be a little exciting. The name InstaFluff is amazing. Well, we have I'm going to take that as an official vote for InstaFluff. If you've never experienced an InstaFluff stream, amazing, wonderful human being to be around. Fluffy streams all the time. Yeah, you're going to enjoy him. His channel is marked as intended for mature audience, but that's only because every now and then he'll curse, but most of the time he's just him. It's just InstaFluff. So yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. I'll be back again on Wednesday, provided nothing else comes up that will take up my Wednesday time at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, or sorry, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, UTC -7 currently. Definitely check out all of the amazing people that we have already shouted out today. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate your energy. I love hanging out with you. And you make my workday feel amazing. So thank you all so very much. I will see you on the next time. Yeah, this is a thing. It happens at the end of every stream. I'm going to put up a vote eventually to see who thinks that this is actually real. Yeah, and actually, you know, one of Big Gamey's emotes is based on this effect right here. Yep. He was so inspired by me. I'm sure that's where it came from. No. Okay, ciao for now.